How to keep a lawn care client happy. It could also be called how to keep a lawn care client for life, because in a few of my cases I have been doing these for decades, and I will continue to take care of these lawns until they pass away, or I pass away, which I hope doesn't happen, and I'm not looking forward to them passing away either. So I'm in it for life with a lot of my people, and that's just how it is. Now, how does that come about? Well, you get the yard, all your different ways, word of mouth, a flyer, phone book ad, something, and you have to talk to them about what they want you to do. Once you establish what they want out of you, you have to figure out what you need to charge them. If they agree to it and you agree, then you're in, and you can continue to do that with no problems year after year after year until one of you changes something up, which means you doing shoddy work, or backing out of like trimming areas that you agreed to trim, or just any of this stuff, or them not paying you, or wanting to charge less. So until one of you messes it up or breaks the agreement, it should be go time for years and years to come. That's the great thing about lawn care. Once you start your business, it just gets better and better. Now here's the thing. Look at all of these little obstacles like that right there. I have to pick it up and I have to trim along it. Okay, I've moved a lot of things already. Who has time for this? Well, how many lawns do you have? Are you maxed out? Do you have so many that you don't have time for something like this? Well, if you're just starting out and you only have a few lawns, what's wrong with a few of these super, well, I would say hard yards, okay? Super hard yards to do. They have a lot of little detail work. There's nothing wrong with having them, because they actually will be your best word of mouth and references. You're taking your time, you're going along here. They could have company over. You could be out here in the yard doing all this work, and then the company is like, man, look at your lawn guy, he's doing all this stuff, how much does he charge? And they say the price, and they're like, man, I want to hire him, or whatever. That has happened to me a lot. Look at all these little wacky things. I gotta pick up the little rain gauge, I gotta go around this. I do this yard every week. I do these same things, the same pattern too. Gotta go around. That's this little stick. Why is it there? No reason other than they want it there. Is it a nuisance for me? Absolutely. What we call this lawn here is a PETA lawn. So what does PETA mean? It stands for pain in the ass, okay? That's what this yard really is. But I've been doing it forever, so I kind of, I know the obstacles, and I've accepted it. Just like, I accepted the terms. They accepted the terms too, the pricing. And I am going with it. Now I know I can't do this lawn as fast as I can some of my others, so I'm not going to be making as much profit as I can on other yards. But back to what I was saying a minute ago, if you don't have a full workload, a full day's worth of work for every day, then what's wrong with having a few of these yards? There's nothing wrong with it, okay? That's where a lot of people get messed up. They think that it's all about being the most efficient at all times, and they're talking about it as if they're all maxed out. They have no more hours or even minutes left in the day, and they just have to increase things. But to be quite honest, a lot of us don't have our life completely maxed out. And if you go ahead and take the time on the yards that you do have, and you do a really good job, you will get so many more references, so many more of referrals, and the neighbors coming out, and just people, they detail and stuff like that. It goes a long way. Problem is, it might be another yard that has to have the same sort of problems that this one has, which is a ton of obstacles. But you will grow your business very fast, and you'll end up having 8 hours a day worth of work in wacky yards like this, PETA yards. That's when you can start dropping these one at a time, and never drop them by being mean. You just say that, hey, too busy, or tell them something, a white lie, like, well, I also have another job, even if you don't. Never put the blame on them. Put it on yourself, as in, I'm just so busy now, I'm going to keep my original people that I've been doing forever and stuff like that. That way, if they see you around town cutting, they won't feel like you disrespected them or anything, and they'll still have good thoughts about you, which go a long way, because you never know. You might need them again in the future for some other reason, and they could still somehow maybe swing you some business, or call you in a year from now and say, hey, are you going to be doing yards again this year? That's happened to me too. I've dropped people, and then they call me back a few years later and say, hey, are you still doing yards, or have you started back up? And then it just so happened I was a little bit slow, and there you go, I pick them back up. Now, if you're going to be real hardcore like I am on this yard right now, you're going to go ahead and blow the street and the bushes out each time up into the yard to mulch it up. We already trimmed, now we went ahead and blew it back out there so that I can make sure I get them all. Now I'm going to cut this one with a small mower here. They love the front yard bagged. I hit the camera. They love it bagged in the springtime when it's green. And right here, this is more of the dry time of year, because you can see the leaves are already falling, and I can go ahead and just mulch the front. But they do prefer a small mower on this yard. And because actually the guy that was cutting this before me, which I got this yard from a flyer also, on a side note, he came over and cut it with a riding mower, and they put up with it, they said, for a while, but it wasn't right, because they had always cut it themselves with a regular mower and bagged it, and he cut it with a riding mower because he could bag with his riding mower. And now they said they wanted a small mower, and that's what I do. We agreed on that term, and I'm still doing it. Although these last couple years, I have asked them on occasion if I can use my big mower when it gets really thick and stuff like that, and they've let me do it, because I've gotten I've gotten pretty good with it, to where I can make it look like it's still used, like a small mower back there. Like I'm not totally cutting it in a different style, because I still outline it with the small mower, and I do all the little wacky little tight areas with it. But the front yard will always be done with the 21. Backyard, I would say 50% of the time it's done with the 21-inch mower. And but back to what I was saying, if you got the time to just go along, be happy with it, don't worry that somebody pulled up next door, got out, cut their yard, and left before you got done, and you started before them. If you can just block that stuff out and quit thinking about, like, oh man, I'm only making X amount per hour here compared to something else. Just remember, you're like, hey, I don't have anything else to do right now. I might as well be making some money and gaining respect from this client, gaining some skill, because you're getting practice too. You're getting paid to practice, and you're just going along, doing your thing, and coming to terms. You become a real lawn freak, like I like to say on here. You become part of it, and you just you end up getting more respect out of yourself too. You feel like you're doing something good. You feel more peaceful, and once you start feeling peaceful in these yards, man, it just kind of opens up the whole world to you, because you it's not all rush. Do you really want to have to be rushing around constantly, even in the lawn care? I mean, I had to rush around with all these jobs I had, and I didn't like that. I was just doing lawns on the side, and now I'm doing this full-time hardcore, and now I have to rush around with some of my yards, and now I'm looking back at when I only had 25-30 yards to do in a week, and I felt like that was more enjoyable than it is now. I don't really like rushing around, but a lot of that has to do with my scheduling with my kids and everything like that. The best part about lawn care for me was just being able to do my own thing at my own pace, and I'm getting paid pretty darn decent, and taking pride in it. Like when you get done, you look back at the yard and you go, oh yeah, that looks really good, and you just be happy with it. And the only way to keep these, keep everything going, keep yourself happy and your client, is to go the extra mile. I'm sorry, but if you cut too many corners, it's going to show after a while. And rushing around all the time is just not the way. It is the way to make a lot of money at lawn care. If you're trying to get rich off of lawn care, you're going to have to do things totally different than someone like myself. And you're going to have to just be all about the best piece of equipment, the most efficient piece of equipment for that lawn, and you're gonna have to get helpers and everything. It's just gonna be a totally different style than somebody going out there making honest day's pay, putting in hard work and actually making a decent living, but yet not making an exorbitant amount of money. You're not getting rich, and you're accepting of that, and you're not trying to build take advantage of the customer. I know people that they say, man, I would be charging an extra fee because of all this other stuff, and if they have these lawn chairs out there and blah blah blah, man, that's just not the way to be. If you don't like the yard, just get rid of the yard. If it's that big a deal for you, because I've heard people say like, oh man, they this yard put a trampoline up or something. And I came back and I was like, oh man, now they got a trampoline. So I went up and I told them that's going to be an extra $3 a week now because I have to move that. Really? Well, if it's that big a deal that, trampoline, I understand. Trust me, it does slow you down. But if you're going to go up and talk to them and you say to her, okay, well, I'm going to have to charge you $3 more a week because of this trampoline out here. And she's going to be like, oh, okay, and then she's going to tell her husband, and he's going to be like, so wait, 4 times 3, and then he's going to go, we now have a monthly tax now on our freaking trampoline that we bought for our kid or something. They no longer think of you as like Greg the lawn guy that's cool, and he's our friend, and he just does whatever he wants and everything's cool with him. And it puts you more back into that business sense where there isn't anything personal there, and there's no attachment, because you just proved that you don't really have any like attachment to their yard or them, and you're just about the money, and that's how they end up thinking about you. And believe me, when the season ends, they might not want you back. And I'm not saying shortchange yourself at all times, but when you're already making pretty good money, and if you're happy with it, the little things shouldn't get in your way. That should only be a big nuisance to yourself when you are maxed out. Look at me right there. I'm just walking along listening to tunes. There's nothing wrong with just enjoying your lawn care journey out here and having fun. And it is fun to me. I like how a lawn looks when it's done. I like, like right there, I'm about halfway done with the backyard, and I can already see like the big pattern, and I enjoy this stuff. And if you can enjoy it and don't get stressed out about how fast you're going and what have you, and save that until later on when you are maxed out and you're needing to make more money, you're gonna have a pretty good life, and you're gonna grow. You can burn yourself out real quick doing lawn care by doing too much at one time and trying to bust out all these yards real quick. People have like 10 yards and they want to go out and do them all in like 5 hours. Where was the fun in that? I know, you go, well, that's more profit. Well, yeah, that's more profit per hour and all this and all that, but if you were just going home to sit on the couch afterward, really, or do nothing, get on YouTube, whatever, then what was the point? You know? Look at that, I picked up a leaf, threw it back over here so I can chop it up here in a second. You know? Lawn care can be really enjoyable. It can be self-therapeutic. You can I can't say it enough. You can really enjoy this business if you do not stress yourself out. Now, there are clients that will stress you out, and yards like this are the exception. They have just so many little wacky things you got to take care of. But man, you know, just do a good job, and be accepting of what you've been, you know, handed here. You've been handed some work. You're going to get paid. You know, you quoted the price, so if you're not happy with it and you're losing money, then you know that's your own fault, and you're going to have to go ahead and figure that out yourself. But if you're trying to just make top dollar every single second you're, you know, working in the yard, then man, you might as well be running some other businesses and stuff too, because you're losing a lot of the quality of life that this can bring for you. Because I mean, it's relaxing. Now, even if you're not just walking like I'm doing here with a push mower, you can be on a zero turn, you can be on a walk behind, you can be on a rider, you can be on whatever, and you can still be having fun. You can be listening to music. You can have nothing on, just have your headphones on for, you know, the noise cancellation, so you can have thoughts and just think about things. And if, you know, I'm telling you right now, it's really relaxing for me when I'm not rushing, and I want to get back to more like this, where I'm just doing my thing. I don't care what the neighbor's doing. I don't care if people down the street just busted out 5 yards and left. I just want to be able to do my little thing, put the gutters back on, put other little lights up where they had them, and get done, look back at it, and be happy with it all. You know, I have my money in my pocket, and you know that my life is okay. I'm going to pay all my bills. I got a good place to live, and you know, everybody's happy, and these people think good things about me, and they're referring me, and that's kind of what I want to get back into. More of my quality work and less of this rush. And I hope you guys understand that, because it really makes your life a lot better, getting rid of all the stress and rushing around. And look at the yard, right? That's a pretty good feeling you have of accomplishment right there.